Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. It's another Apple launch event, and they even make a credit card look like your next must-have. Eggboy speaks out. We'll bring you some of what he had to say. Science steps forward to help little ones and their little tickers. And animals doing stuff for doing this at a cafe in Bangkok. Now, top of our newsfeed, Apple, America's first trillion-dollar company, held its latest glitzy product launch last night. And while Apple stands and fans online were as rapturous as usual, even though they didn't get a new offering of phone or watch or computer, the launch event was basically for Apple 2.0 and showed how the firm is gaming to be in every single part of a user's life. So be ready and have your cash out. Here's Rachel Silverman in San Francisco.
It's a change of direction for Apple. The company's going after our viewing hours. At a launch event at company headquarters here in Northern California, CEO Tim Cook announced Apple TV Plus. It comes out in the fall and will be part of a revamped Apple TV app. It's got the backing of some of the best-known Hollywood A-listers, including Oprah Winfrey and Steven Spielberg, who's producing a reboot of the 1980s series Amazing Stories. There's also an adaptation of Isaac Asimov's classic Foundation books, and The Morning Show, a drama set in morning TV industry starring Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. Even Sesame Street's Big Bird is getting in on the act. The new service means Apple's competing against the likes of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and it's also up against the upcoming streaming service promised by Disney. In addition to its host of original offerings, Apple's throwing a service called Apple TV Channels into the mix that will aggregate channels and services that customers subscribe to into the mix. Some of the partners who will be featured on the new service include Spectrum, DirecTV, Optimum, Hulu, PlayStation, and Amazon Prime Video. Several prominent cablers, including HBO, Showtime, and Starz, will also be accessible via the Apple TV app. No word yet on what it will cost subscribers, but we'll certainly hear more on that before the launch date this fall.
Yes, we will. And Apple not only rolled out its own TV service, as Rachel was saying, it also unveiled Apple News Plus. And that will give subscribers access to more than 300 magazines and a few papers, including the LA Times and the Wall Street Journal. A gaming subscription service, Apple Arcade, was also unveiled, as well as that credit card, Apple Card, which offers daily cashback. And there were more surprises. Film legend Steven Spielberg popped up too, and he revealed he'll be working with Apple, which is obviously a match made in geeky heaven.
I'm so grateful to be here today. This is my first time at Apple. The place where imagination and technology join forces to change the world through sight and sound and touch.
But Spielberg's news didn't go down so well with some parts of the internet. You see, Mr. Spielberg created some beef during the Oscar season for lobbying against Netflix-streamed movies being included in the Academy Awards. Now, some on Twitter thought it was ironic that he was now going to work with Apple, although he's not making movies for them yet. Kate Arthur, who is BuzzFeed's Hollywood expert, writes, "Did we know Spielberg was shitting for Apple during his Netflix kerfuffle? No, we didn't, Kate." Imran Khan of Game Informer says Spielberg, who's argued movies on TV are not as good as cinema movies, is being paid by Apple to tell you why Apple TV Plus is good. Obviously, it is a launch event. And Katie Rich from Vanity Fair says Spielberg's inclusion is confusing, and these guys are meant to be the experts. Now, Eggboy, aka William Connolly, has been speaking to Australian television about his actions and the message he was trying to send by smashing an egg on the head of a racist Australian politician called Fraser Anning.
After that tragedy in Christchurch, I thought the world should be supporting all those victims with love, giving them love and passion and the senator released a statement which was pretty much a divisive hate speech, blaming the victims for the attack. And I was just flat out disgusted. Actually, not many people know this, but I actually went in there to listen to him for an hour, see if he'd changed my mind, as, you know, I'm a pretty forgiving person, and in my mind, you know, I wanted to forgive him. I didn't think this was going to blow up. In fact, you know, it's blown up completely out of proportion, and to the point where it's kind of embarrassing, because too much attention is actually brought away from the real victims suffering. We should be focusing on them. I understand what I did was not the right thing to do. However, this egg has united people, and, you know, money has been raised, tens of thousands of dollars has been raised for those victims.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that have caught our eye on social media. The hashtag #FreeOurGirls is trending after 3 teenage girls were detained in Burundi for defacing a picture of their president in their school textbooks. Now, some Twitter users shared their own defaced images of President Pierre Nkurunziza. The girls have been charged with insulting the head of state and could spend 5 years in prison. The BTS army have been losing their minds over this. The first look at the toy maker Mattel's BTS doll/action figure collection. Now, you too can dress your own Jin and Jimin in whatever outfit you choose and have tea parties or concerts or whatever. Mattel tweeted, "Mic drop army." The dolls/action figures are wearing the same kit they wore in the Idol music video, apparently. Now, a charity in California have been staging symbolic funerals for the people who've died trying to cross the US border from Mexico. Take a look.
Behind all these items, there's a story. And these are human beings that are simply, you know, trying to feed their family, and that's why they cross borders all over the world.
The United Nations say they finally have a sense of the scale of devastation in Mozambique following Cyclone Idai and say they now need money. Here's one of their coordinators.
The people in need, which we calculate and which the Minister and I discussed just now, the government are also seeing the increasing number. The total people affected are 1.85 million, 1.85 million. Of those, we will target 1.72 million. The requirements, the funding that we are asking to fund the operation for the first 3 months is $281 million. Okay, that has been released, it has been sent out across the world, and governments already considering funding that appeal. And that funding is absolutely vital to support the operations we are doing in support of the government of Mozambique.
And of course, that money will go toward helping the unknown number of people who've been cut off by the storm. What happened in some places is only just becoming clear.
Para nós, população, que até hoje nós aqui não estamos a comer nas machambas, a comida foi embora e não temos nada nas machambas. E nem dentro de casa também não temos nem roupa, nem esteira, nem cobertório. Não temos nem panela, nem o quê. Tudo foi embora com água. Porque as águas do rio chegou até aqui nas casas. Além de ventania. Foi isso que nós vimos. É isso mesmo, pessoas aqui, os outros morreram em cima dos árvores porque não tinha socorro. Que até hoje tem pessoas que estão mortos em cima dos árvores porque não existe nenhum socorro. E é isso.
Okay, let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, the Australian government is putting forward proposals that could see people who work for social media companies held legally responsible for extreme content on the platform. Prime Minister Scott Morrison says he wants to hear social media execs' suggestions for restraining the spread of extremist material. And if those suggestions are not good enough, Morrison is mulling penalties such as fines and perhaps even jail time for executives based within Australian legal jurisdiction. This potentially groundbreaking move by the Aussie government comes in the wake of the murder of 50 people at 2 mosques in New Zealand on the 15th of March by an Australian citizen. The gunman live-streamed the shooting. And Facebook is under pressure in France too. The French Council of the Muslim Faith is suing them, again for allowing that live stream to be up for so long and for them being slow in taking it down. They're also suing YouTube, who also hosted the video of the massacre. Social media is facing regulation all over the globe as politicians face up to the real power these organisations have. And masterpieces of French art are to be renamed for an exhibition in Paris that seeks to redress the balance and recognise the influence of black people in artwork from 1848 to 1950. The show has pieces by Génicot, Francis Auguste Bayard and many others, and many of them have been renamed after the black people who feature in them. And there is a baby boom at a hospital in the US, and it's quite amazing. 9 nurses who work in the maternity department are all pregnant. Then they are all expecting little ones between April and July of this year. Congratulations to all from the NewsFeed team. And staying with the baby theme, Adama reports now on some amazing, life-changing science being used by doctors in the UK. Take a look.
2-year-old Stanley looks like any other healthy toddler, but he's one of thousands born with a congenital heart defect. And it wasn't until his birth that his condition was fully diagnosed.
From the 20-week scan and the subsequent scans from there, they said that he should be okay from birth. They thought probably until he's about 6 months, and they'd look at doing his main surgery. But obviously when he was born, they did another scan straight away, and yeah, things weren't quite as...
No, not quite as straightforward as I think, and there was a few other, or the abnormalities of his heart were more severe than they expected.
King's College London and Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital have developed a technique to check a baby's heart while it's still in the womb. Specialist computer software and MRI scans can now be used to create a 3D image of a tiny beating heart, so any anomalies can be found sooner rather than later.
That's really a lot of worry and uncertainty for the parents. And what we try to do is, if we know exactly what's going on, we can actually get them to see the surgeon, the intensive care, all of the things that are going to happen after birth, before birth, so that they have time to adapt and think about it.
About 12 babies are diagnosed with a heart defect at birth every day in the UK. Up to 2% of Britain's population may be affected, and thanks to research, 8 out of 10 babies with heart issues reach adulthood. Scientists wish to take this incredible technique further by combining it with other advanced ultrasound and MRI techniques, so that toddlers like Stanley have the chance of a better quality of life.
Stuff. And in animals doing stuff, we go to Thailand for non-election related news. This is a restaurant called Corgi in the Garden, where, as the name suggests, there are a bunch of corgis in the garden for patrons to hang out with. Now, the little favourites of the Queen of England have become very popular recently, not least because their cuteness level is like 100 and the Gram loves a cute dog. Well, that'll be all from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter and YouTube, and you can follow me on Instagram. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.